ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Retro Warriors episode 510. Woo! Already into the double digits in the 500s.
Yep.
It's so high up there. Anyway, as always, I'm your host, Justin Baker. As always, I'm joined by viable human Chris Saturn. Hi, Saturn.
Hi, Justin.
You've arrived.
Hooray. Where did I come from?
So, I don't know. Where did you go?
God damn it. We're not Cotton Eye Joeing this.
Moments before we started recording, you were like, this one's going to be unhinged. And I was like, I don't know. Instantly Cotton Eye Joe. I don't know how we...
God damn it. None of this is acceptable.
Now, I don't know that non-Americans know the Cotton Eye Joe song. But Americans...
It's for the best.
Yeah, don't look it up.
Yeah. Will cause distress.
Best known for hamsterdance.com, which is where it really rose in the charts. Was it Hamster Dance was the Cotton Eye Joe song?
Hamster Dance was the song from the Robin Hood Disney movie.
What? No, it was Cotton Eye Joe, wasn't it?
No, it was do.
Yeah, is that? No, I guess that's not Cotton Eye Joe, is it?
Yeah, no, that's the song from Robin Hood.
What am I thinking of?
I don't fucking know.
But inevitably a Hamster Dance knockoff.
I guess.
That must be it.
Right?
The Kmart brand Hamster Dance. My week. I had a week.
Sir. Did you?
Fucking week. I got my modded Xbox back.
Yeah.
The guy that did the work did a wonderful job. Installed all new capacitors. Soldered in the Project Stellar mod chip and the Xbox HD Plus mod, and attached a HDMI port directly digital output on the back of the Xbox. That all works beautiful.
Nice.
He sent it back to me, and I didn't want to pay him to slap a hard drive in it, because I can slap a hard drive in it.
Sure.
So I had a new IDE cable prepared, an IDE to SATA adapter, and a 1 terabyte SATA drive with a bracket that'll fit it in there, all prepared.
Nice.
So it got back to me, and I had already loaded up all my games on the hard drive using all of the back-end software, because you have to use, much like the PS2, the Xbox uses kind of a weird format.
Right.
So you can't just view it natively on Windows. So I've got software to load my games. I had a couple hundred games loaded on it. And
you didn't just immediately format it like you did your Xbox 360 hard drive?
Nope, did not do that.
That's good.
It's got a terabyte of games on it, and I don't know how long you think it takes to download a terabyte of games on my internet, but it's a long time, days.
45 minutes.
Nope.
Oh,
and
weird.
I got them all loaded up, and I got it down there, and it won't play them. They're the wrong format. So I'm needing to source my backups from somewhere else. And so
just rip them again.
Well, see, I don't want to wear out my DVD drive.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's important.
So I can't rip them all again.
Yeah, you need
that
later.
is so tedious.
Yeah.
Where am I? I don't want to damage my hardware. So obviously, I'm just getting backups with the exact versions I own.
Of course.
I
ripped all of my GameCube games.
Oh my God.
On my GameCube using the old PSO exploit before Wii's were easily modded, and transferring a disc over the GameCube's network adapter over an old-fashioned router to
How many days did that take you?
Oh, so many days. It was like 2 hours per game.
Oh my God.
It was so bad.
I will say, so getting it all upset, it's less of a tangled mess than PS2, but it's still a bit of a mess. This kind of thing always is. There's some complexities and things, use weird file formats. What I am blown away with is, for people that don't know, after you mod an Xbox, usually you install a different dashboard.
Yeah.
So my BIOS, I can boot into my BIOS, and it has a lot of functionality, but you're kind of expected to use a custom dashboard or just the stock one if you don't want to run backups off the hard drive.
Right.
And so I went through a couple dashboards. Some of them were really old, from 2007, 2009, and I loaded up one called XBMC, the number 4 Gamers. Because there's an old one.
Of XBMC.
Yeah, there's an old one called XBMC.
Yeah, it's Kodi.
Yeah, and it was media centric, and then it went on to become Kodi. But then this one is a new version of XBMC for its gameplay first.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, a lot of people used modded Xboxes as just kind of general multimedia boxes.
Right.
I don't need that. I have a phone. It's so I loaded XBMC for gamers, and I'm so impressed with how polished and functional this 2003 model Xbox is now.
Yeah.
It's got full internet connectivity. It's got homebrew sections to download stuff. It downloads its own themes. It updates itself. I downloaded a fan translation for Metal Wolf Chaos that just latches on to my backup of the game. I downloaded a native port of the first Panzer Dragoon that just runs on it natively.
Nice.
It downloaded it and installed it itself. It's got like on-screen keyboards modeled after the Xbox One. It's just really nice. It's different user accounts. Like if my kid wants to have a user account where she's got, kid games and her kid stuff that's separate from mine. Like it's
nice.
Nuts. The level of functionality that this dashboard has blows me away. I'm so impressed with the Xbox modding scene, the software they have, the capabilities they've added to this old hardware. It just goes to remind me that why do we keep buying new shit when all this old shit works just fine? You just need someone to put some new software on it.
And really, the Xbox hardware-wise was a bit ahead of its time. As far
sure,
as
most definitely. I mean, built-in Ethernet adapter, built-in hard drive, like it's a good machine.
Yeah.
So if you have a modded or soft-modded Xbox, and maybe you're on an older, like Unleash X or one of those older dashboards, and you haven't tried out XBMC for gamers, absolutely try it out. It adds so much cool functionality. It's so slick.
Nice.
It's amazing. It's really amazing. The Xbox HDMI mod works great. It outputs full 720p directly to my 4K television.
Nice.
It looks awesome. Games they look like Xbox games, but they look good. They look good for Xbox games. It's got a lot of functionality in there about like forcing different modes and stuff that I've not really played with in the BIOS yet because I'm still trying to get all my games set up on it, which is going to take a few days of downloading. I also picked up the Retro Fighters Hunter controller, which is their Xbox controller.
Yeah.
Have had some issues with it.
Oh no.
One, I couldn't get it to boot. I couldn't get it to turn on at all. It was just DOA. And so I plug it in, let it charge for a while. It still won't come on. I'm trying every button combo. I'm looking up stuff on their website, and I'm like, I guess I'm going to have to return it. And then I realized I had it plugged in charging via a C to C cable.
Mm-hmm.
And I switched it to a to C cable, and it charged.
That's weird.
That is weird, because I would swear I've charged their other controllers with a C to C.
Yeah.
After it connected, it worked great, but that was kind of some weirdness I ran into. So
maybe that C to C cable wasn't rated for the right power or whatever.
But it's the same one I used to charge their other controllers.
Oh, well, that's weird.
So I don't know, just kind of some weirdness with it. But it works great. Played some Halo.
It's good.
Tested it all out. So I all this to say I've got the modded Xbox back, but it's still kind of in pieces across my living room, getting things put into it still. So it's not quite it's not fully
its
RoboCop.
Final state yet. Yeah.
It's RoboCop when he's still latched in the chair eating baby food. When it's like he's RoboCop, but he's not like out shooting bad guys yet. We're not quite there. I'm especially coming from the PS2 modding scene to this, it's night and day. Functionality wise, speed wise, it's really nice. Now, granted, PSBBN is very slick, much slicker than the Free McBoot and OPL combo that so many modded PS2s use. But this is just kind of head and shoulders above. XBMC for gamers is fantastic.
Nice.
Really blown away with how good it is. Not blown away with the weird fucking file format that Xbox One or original Xbox games need to be in to work on an Xbox.
Yeah.
Because apparently they weren't just DVDs, so you can't just rip the ISO and then slap the ISO in your Xbox and it works. They were multi-partition DVDs.
Yeah, that was part of their copyright protection thing.
Oh, it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Anyway. Also, wrapped up Space Marine 2. I finished Suikoden, and then the next day turned Space Marine 2 back on, finished it. Really, really fun, cool, just straight end-to-end action game with some really cool set-piece moments that I enjoyed immensely. My only complaint is that, and this is my complaint with a lot of Warhammer 40k stuff, is you don't really get the kind of silliness, for people that don't know, the 40k universe is, and maybe hardcore 40k fans will disagree with me, but it's very much satire. Like, it is a satire.
Yeah.
It was originally conceived as
like
a satire.
Starship Troopers.
And and if you look at it for a couple seconds, you're like, oh, this is serious, but it's silly.
Right.
And that's what makes it fun. And I think the first Space Marine, I think I talked about this on the show. First Space Marine, you fought the orcs. And the orcs are so inherently silly that they kind of bring it back. While the Space Marines play the straight man to the orcs' silliness, the silliness they bring in makes you think about it like, oh, this is kind of goofy. Like, this is dumb. We're like these weird Roman legionnaires fighting mutant space fungus orcs that speak with, like, bad British accents. Like, it's funny. This one is very much more straight-laced and, like, glory to the Emperor kind of Space Marine stuff, and it sort of lost the satire or any semblance of it. And it very much wanted you involved in, like, the glory of destroying these foes for your great emperor. And I don't know, that hits a little different, than, like, kind of grim, as that Judge Dredd level grim dark satire.
Yeah.
But all that to say, still a really, really competent, fun, enjoyable, just standard 10 to 12 mission action game, which we just kind of don't really get so much anymore. Yeah. So and very much ended on a cliffhanger. I was like, oh, there's more missions, and then it rolled credits, and I was like, oh, you're doing another one real soon. Yeah, very, very fun, just kind of straight action game, which I hadn't gotten to enjoy in a while. Yeah. What have you been doing, Saturn?
So I'm still chipping away at Suikoden 2.
Yes.
But because I've got my new computer, I keep wanting to play things on my new computer, because that's what you do when you get a new thing. Right,
Vampire Survivors, yeah.
Yeah, so it has been some Vampire Survivors, yes. Mm-hmm. Especially since they released the new DLC. So I don't know if I remember to say it, but after we did our Final Fantasy VII Remake episode, I actually went back and finished the game.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, because you hadn't finished that playthrough.
Yeah, I was like a couple of hours away from the end.
Yeah.
So I did go back and finish it, and then when it unlocked the chapter select, I was like, I probably should go through and clear out the last couple things that I had, just to have a good save file on my PC. And now that I have a nicer PC that can run the game at a solid 120 frames a second at all times, I'm doing some of that and playing through it on hard mode now, which is still just as big a bullshit as it was the first time I played it on hard mode. If you haven't played FF7 Remake on hard mode, you can't use items.
Oh, gross!
Not
you can barely
battle,
use items before
anyway.
Anyway. The item menu sucked.
Yeah, it's completely grayed out at all times. You cannot use items; they are useless. You can still find them in chests or whatever, but they don't do anything. That's the worst way
to make a hard mode. Why would you do it that way?
But also, all the enemies are harder and block more and do more damage.
It's just so weird.
Yeah, it sucks real bad. But fortunately, I'm playing it on PC this time, so I have Cheat Engine, which makes it much better than it was on PS4, because now I don't have to stress all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I can still fight the enemies that are hard mode exclusive.
Nice, very nice.
I have been playing a little more Monster Hunter Wilds, trying to get a feel for it.
I am containing my excitement as much as possible. I've already told you, I'm just sitting here waiting for you to be like, yes, I'm kind of into it. I'm kind of going to play it. And then I'm unwrapping my copy and putting it in my PS5. We're going to play together. But I'm like patiently, because I know what it's like to be like, I don't know, I'm kind of messing around with this stuff. And then someone shows up that's way too into it. And you're like, you're kind of making me not want to fucking do it now. Yeah, so but just so you know, I'm over here vibrating every day, just like waiting for the text. It's like, I'm into this. Let's hunt. And I'm like, like I can't.
So I've been playing around with some weapons. I've played around with the hammer and with the dual blades.
Uh-huh.
And they're okay.
Dual blades are fun, super fast. They don't do any damage, but they're fun as hell.
Yeah. That's my thing is the hammer feels like it actually does something, but it's slow as shit, and I hate slow weapons. Whereas the dual blades are fast, but I feel like I'm not doing anything.
You could do Sword and Shield, classic sword and board.
Yeah, I'm still playing around with it. I'm trying to find a weapon that works for me.
Yeah,
Sometimes I finished the.
It's. I always compare it to fighting games where it's like everyone's like, "Oh, you're playing Street Fighter. Start with Ryu, and then you'll already know how to play 6 characters." And then sometimes you just play it and you're like, "Nah, man, I like this fucking weird character. Like I don't know why, but this
guy.
is yeah." And so like I will not play anything other than Switch Axe. I don't like anything other than Switch Axe. I don't enjoy it. It makes me actively dislike the game. I'm here for the Switch Axe. And it's not really super friendly or something I'd recommend to people. And when I started with it, people are like, I don't start with that. Start with something like the longsword or something. But
the
I was
tutorial
really
told me I should play the insect glaive.
I was really into it because the Switch Axe transforms, and it was just so cool and fun to be like transforming my weapon as I played. That's what got me into it. So yeah, play some weird shit. Like don't know. It's very fighting game-esque. I know it's shocking coming from a company like Capcom,
right?
Yeah, something like a fighting game, but it's very much that kind of paradigm.
Yeah, I did mess around with a few weapons. I finished the first like tutorial hunt where you have to kill the first thing.
Yeah.
And I was most of the way okay. I had actually finished the battle before I figured out what my weapon's durability gauge was.
Yeah, because you got to sharpen.
Yeah, I didn't realize you had to sharpen mid-battle because it fell down to 0. And I thought that was the enemy's health, and I was like, yeah, I'm finally getting it down.
Nope,
and
no health.
That was
no
not
health
it.
gauge.
That was not the enemy's health, and so then I'm like doing no damage for fucking forever.
Yeah.
Because I also didn't know how to sharpen because it like popped up to tell me to use the right stick to use a whetstone, but I was in the middle of trying to not die at that moment.
Yeah.
So I didn't see the pop-up. So I had no idea until after battle, and I was like pulling it up on Google, like, how do I fix my broken fucking weapon?
Well, like when you go into your next hunt, it's already sharpened. It's it resets between hunts.
Oh well, then I just wasted some whetstones after that hunt, I guess.
Now you don't waste items in Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter items are like potions in Final Fantasy. Like, yeah, you can run out, but you're almost always going to have 99, and then you might use 6 of them, and then you're going to go buy the 6 that you're not going to run out. Like, you're constantly getting and making more shit than you'll ever fucking use.
Right.
But yeah. So one of the things, like when you upgrade weapons, one of the things you look for is like how much sharpness does it have?
Yeah.
Because it's in grades and it goes by colors. So you'd be like, ooh, this weapon does like slightly less damage, but it has way more sharpness. So I don't have to worry about sharpening it. Or it's the same damage but more sharpness or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out some of the mechanics, some of the systems and everything.
Sharpen your hammer. It makes perfect sense.
Saturn. Yeah, that was the thing in my first battle. It was like you have to sharpen your hammer, and then the animation of him sharpening his hammer. I'm like, this is really stupid. What is he doing?
Oh yeah, no, it's a stupid game. Monster Hunter has always been stupid. It's why I love it. It makes no sense. It's ridiculous.
I can't be upset about the stupid because I've got my talking cat with me, so I'm not expecting it to be like this serious grimdark world or anything. But
I see. I'm always so sad because Generations Ultimate on Switch, which was like the final classic Monster Hunter, it was like the celebration of like, hey, we're gonna take all the classic Mon Hunt stuff and stuff it into one game, and now we're not gonna do that anymore. We're gonna do the new style. It had a mode called Palico mode, where you could play as just a team of the cats, and you were a cat.
Nice.
And it was like you were invincible. It was so it was so much fun. It's such a fun way to play Monster Hunter. Makes me sad that you can't be the cats. I want them to bring it back real bad. But yeah, no, it's inherently a silly dumb game. It's you and a cat sharpening hammers to hit dinosaurs with. It makes no sense.
Yeah, I think the tutorial monster was called like Chotacabra or something.
That sounds about right. Yeah,
it feels like it's vaguely Mesoamerican themed in this one.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's exciting. I like that.
Yeah, but it's neat. And also I bought 9 Years of Shadows because I'd heard some good reviews of it, only to discover that one, I already owned it twice. On 2 different platforms, and one of the times was free from Amazon Prime on the platform I paid for it on anyway. So I'm playing 9 Years of Shadows now, and it is very much a Metroidvania in the style of Symphony of the Night. It is that style of search action.
I just assumed it was a horror game by the name. It's
No,
a terrible
no.
name for a search action game.
No, it's neat. It feels a little generic-y where I'm at so far. I'm waiting for the thing that opens it up and gives it its identity, because I keep hearing excellent reviews of it. So I'm waiting for that point.
Also, I'm looking at it. Extremely colorful game. Bad name. I'm just going to say, as soon as you say 9 Years of Shadow, I would not anticipate. This is a very cool, stylish, colorful looking game.
So the premise is that all the color was drained from the world, and when you first start the game, it's all in grayscale. And then something happens, and suddenly you're allowed to see the color again. And that's I assume that eventually you're going to restore color to the whole world or something, or figure out why it was grayscale. I don't know. I haven't got that far.
Or learn that you are colorblind and the problem all along.
Right. Yeah. Really, you just got some classes.
Both equally possible.
But that's neat. I'm looking forward to playing some more of it.
Let's do the news.
Okay.
First up, Zelda live-action film planned to release worldwide on the 26th of March, 2027. I'm expecting it to be all right.
That's pretty far out to announce an exact release date of a film.
Yeah, well, it's Nintendo, and they either communicate not at all or too specifically. And those are the only two ways they communicate, and that's it. Right. And then when you ask them to clarify, they say, no. We don't do that.
Or they say different things.
Yeah, or they just contradict themselves. Yeah. We may or may not be coming off the back of a week of Switch 2 news and be a little jaded. Who knows? Mm-hmm. I'm expecting, like, just literally Marvel-style fantasy action with the serial numbers filed off and a guy dressed in a green tunic. That's all I'm expecting from this.
I was expecting Lord of the Rings with the serial numbers filed off.
If it was Lord of the Rings, I would fucking love that. That would be incredible. That would be so nice. I'm just expecting your standard Marvel level.
I think I'd take the Marvel movie over Lord of the Rings.
Oh, that's because you're a big wrong-y sap. Square Enix launched a 25th anniversary website for Final Fantasy IX and has done nothing with it. It's just there. Here's a website. We made a website. Yay.
Yeah, they released some new toys.
I don't know why they got to act like it's their fucking middle school web project. Do something with it.
I remember in high school when I took webmastering, we had to present these little fake websites to the class. Mm-hmm. And one of the guys wanted to make the absolute worst website he could, so he did all red text with the blink tag, and the background was a GIF of a spinning hot dog.
Did you get a good grade?
Yeah. Technically, he met exactly all the requirements.
I don't know if computer classes in public school are still like this, but when we were in school, they were jokes. The teachers didn't know what was happening, nor did they care. And as long as you showed up and typed on a computer, you got an A.
Yep.
Yeah. New Linux kernel 6.14 improves compatibility with Windows games via Wine. This is assuming you're not already using Proton, because I understand that Proton
helps Proton.
I thought I had read that Proton had already incorporated some of these changes in different ways.
A lot of them, yeah. But it means that a lot of it will be handled at the kernel level now. So it theoretically could free up some processing or something.
All good news.
Indeed.
Nintendo reportedly prevented a major chaotic, in air quotes, publisher from getting Switch 2 developer kits because they are unstable, says the company releasing a new console in 60 days with no real hard U.S. price or pre-order date. It's presumed the chaotic publisher is Embracer Group.
Yeah,
which they're not
chaotic,
wrong. Yeah. It's pretty chaotic. Says the company who can't seem to communicate effectively about any products coming out in the next 60 days.
A lot of work, man.
You want to talk about chaotic companies?
They're too busy working on that Zelda movie that's going to come out in 2 years.
As long as Tomodachi Life comes out, that's all that matters. It's the biggest Nintendo game in the last decade.
Oh, I don't care about that.
No, you do. You will. You'll see. You'll all come around. Everyone will come around whenever you see the fun that I'm having. You go, I want to be that guy. That's what I want. No, it's amazing. You're gonna love it. The new update look. If you don't love it, I'm gonna make your Tomodachi me love it, and then it's like little voodoo dolls. It'll make you love it too.
That's that totally works that way.
That's I just scoot you around in the game, make you do what I want, and then you have to do it in real life.
Yeah, definitely.
What the fuck are we talking about? New update for Dolphin can now boot every Wii and GameCube game, as well as every official Virtual Console game, which is
nice.
Just outstanding.
And Dolphin has been such an incredible piece of software since the day it first released. It's really incredible.
It's stellar, absolutely stellar. Billy Mitchell won a defamation lawsuit against YouTube personality Carl Jobst. I don't really know what beef they did or didn't have.
So, I had to read about this because it was stupid.
Yeah.
Apparently, this Carl guy, who I've never heard of before, but is a YouTube personality, had been making a big deal about how he was getting sued by Billy Mitchell for calling Billy Mitchell a cheater at all the games that Billy Mitchell cheated at. And he started a GoFundMe or a Kickstarter or something requesting help paying for all these legal fees so he could, defend himself against Billy Mitchell. And then it came to the actual trial, and it turns out that what Billy Mitchell was actually suing him over was this guy had said on the internet that Billy Mitchell had convinced a guy to kill himself.
Oh, that's
which he didn't
do. Very different.
And there was no evidence that he had done that. And in fact, the evidence that this Carl guy had presented was easily refuted by facts. So he lost pretty obviously. And so that is a rare win for Billy Mitchell that is not based on cheating. So good for him.
I will say this. Billy Mitchell is a well-documented cheater. We know that he was a cheater.
True. Yeah.
And
but
an
asshole.
That doesn't mean anyone has free reign to go out and say whatever shit they want about the guy. If you're going to say shit about the guy, say shit that's true, because there's enough of it.
Oh,
you don't need to make up stuff.
Yeah.
Right? So that's it's just one of those things. Someone took it too far.
Right.
Evercade and SNK have announced a new Evercade carts containing Neo Geo and Neo Geo Pocket Classics, which is really cool. They also announced an Evercade that's all Neo Geo colored, and I'm upset. I'm upset with them because it still just has ABXY buttons instead of ABCD buttons.
That was a little upsetting.
Which I get it. They just
they want it to be compatible with all their other carts and everything.
I know, but it's dumb.
It's still
I don't like it. A new N-Gage cartridge has released containing 3 indie games. Saturn, you gonna buy it and play it on your N-Gage?
Nope.
Oh no. But you're the only potential customer they have.
As one of the 8 remaining N-Gage owners.
It's just you, man.
I'm gonna pass.
8BitDo has announced a translucent green edition of the Ultimate Controller in partnership with the Xbox. That's going to go perfectly with my translucent green keyboard and my translucent green mouse, and I can't wait. It's going to be so good. It's going to be so good. I'm going to play all the cool games on it, and Saturn's going to be a dork over there without Tomodachi Life or without a translucent green controller, and he's going to be like, oh, I'm so sad. That's what he's going to say. For now, maybe, but we'll see who gets the last laugh, and it'll be the man that buys stupid shit and lords it over you. I don't know why I'm so mean to you in the news this week. A couple weeks ago, I was going to be positive in the news. Now I'm going to be mean to Saturn in the news. That's the new.
That positivity really lasted.
The Delta. Oh yeah, I guess it didn't. The Delta emulator for iPhone now supports online play for DS games, doing what Nintendo don't, which is let you play your online games online.
Yeah.
So there you go. There you go, everyone that wants to preserve
modern
gaming
hardware
history.
too.
I know. It's almost like Nintendo should fucking do that.
That'd be crazy.
I know. I mean, how are you supposed to have a virtual console game that plays online? That's not a thing they've ever done, even back on the Wii. Like, what? How the fuck does that even? How does that work?
Yeah, I don't.
SNK has announced that a Swedish DJ will be added to the upcoming Fatal Fury City of the Wolves.
A real life Swedish DJ, not like an original.
Yeah, they're not inventing a Swedish DJ.
No, this is just what life is now.
I understand that SNK has some unique ownership, related to the Saudi royal family, and I understand that creates some strange paradigms.
Yeah.
And I'm also a little nervous because we are finally getting a Mark of the Wolves sequel all these years later, one of the best SNK fighters they ever made. And they're kind of just throwing random dudes in there. We had a soccerman, and now we got a DJ. Yeah. I keep waiting for him to be like, oh, now we're adding Bugs Bunny and Captain Crunch. Like, who else? Why not? Put Bill Nye in there. I mean, shit. Let's go crazy.
We're gonna add 100 gnomes in a mech suit.
I'd be okay with that one. I'd be okay with that one. So I'm a little nervous about this project. I was excited for the game. I got it pre-ordered, but they keep adding random weird people. Then I'm like, why?
Right.
Why?
Yeah, like what is going on here?
Project Chronos, a set of tools to hack the PC Engine / TurboGrafx 16 mini consoles to allow adding games and playing from USB, has been released in an alpha state. I'm so excited for this.
Me too.
It's been so long.
Right?
All 50 of us that bought the Turbo Mini have been waiting and waiting.
It's been 5 years.
We've been waiting as long as everyone else has been waiting for me to eat my PC Engine, after predicting they would never make a Mini.
That's true, yeah.
And the wait will continue because we're in alpha, and I can't eat that.
Right.
It will make me sick.
I mean, you could.
No, I can't. No, you can't. The Louvre is discontinuing their 3DS tour, which is sad, but kind of shocking. It was still going on in 2025.
Yeah, I imagine those 3DS Louvre cartridges are only going to become even more expensive. The English language ones have been expensive for a little while now.
Yeah. I think
that's
excited.
The only ever region-free cart for the 3DS, wasn't it?
I would guess so. I mean, maybe some other weird indie shit somewhere,
Possibly,
but I could see it. One of the few, at least.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to save this next news item because I'm so excited to talk about it. We're going to do that last. So I'm going to fire through the rest, then we'll come back to this.
Okay.
A new recompilation tool is being developed for PS2 games. I love all the recompilation tools. N64, PS2. We saw a 360 recompilation project. Ways to get games natively running on PC. It's awesome. I want to see more of this. I'm very excited for the potential.
Not just PC, but other platforms as well. It's very exciting.
True, very true. Because you can port it. Yeah, it's very super early days for this.
Oh yeah.
But here in a year or two, I'm going to be real excited to check in on this one.
Yeah.
U.S. tariffs have caused a lot of international uncertainty around the viability of retro game handhelds. If you're looking
to
everything
import, else.
Yeah, and everything. If you're looking to import a retro handheld, I've already seen like some smaller projects that I follow are like, hey, we have to suspend sales. We can't afford this, or there's already been problems and disruptions in the industry.
Yeah.
So if you're sleeping on picking up that Miu Mini or that. Here's what I think is really going to get hit, and I've already seen it happen. The mod chip I bought, Project Stellar, they've already had to release an announcement that's like, hey, this really fucks up our bottom line a lot. So we don't really quite know what to do, so we're going to kind of just back up and see what happens. Stuff like mod chips and small boutique hardware, specialty flex cables for Game Boy screens.
And shit.
Just little bits like this that just kind of get sold out of the back of Chinese factories and then shipped over here on the cheap because we don't have the infrastructure for them.
Right.
That kind of stuff is going to get hit first because the margins are already so slim on it.
Oh, yeah.
They're already doing small batch boutique orders. So just, we don't ever want to be in the position of predicting the market because that's just not us. I don't think we're equipped for that.
But we have been saying since the beginning of the year that if you wanted one of these things from China, that now it's the time.
Yeah. A lot of this stuff comes from China, and if you've been kind of sleeping on maybe picking up one of those Ambernick handhelds or what, that Game Boy OLED screen upgrade you wanted, that's where this stuff comes from. So just throwing it out there. Get while the getting's good.
Right.
Ubisoft argued in court that customers can't complain that it shut down The Crew because the license agreement on the box made it clear that players could only enjoy the game at Ubisoft's discretion.
Yeah.
Fuck us, I guess.
Yeah.
Isn't this the company that makes quadruple A games?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the same company, yeah.
They seem like a bunch of fucking assholes.
They do.
That's weird.
So there's some merit to their argument of, yes, you are buying a license for a piece of software, but the way they put it just makes them sound like giant assholes.
I get that this is kind of the only way you can put it when you're defending yourself in court, but man, the in the cold light of day, it's we all know it, but to see them saying it and hear the way they have to phrase it, it's not fun. Speaking of not fun, PlayStation Plus is raising its price in Latin America.
Yeah, across multiple Latin American countries.
Yeah, so unfortunate for anyone in those regions.
This is not the first time that PS Plus has raised its price in various countries. I imagine it's going to hit everywhere before long. So, Maybe stock up if you can buy multiple years in advance or whatever.
Yeah. Or if you rely on PS Plus for some specific games you can get physically, maybe try to find some used copies and quit relying on these.
Assuming you have a disc
services. Assuming you have and can get one.
Yeah.
A Steam Deck prototype sold on eBay for $2,000, which is a cool find.
Yeah.
And looks really different
ugly.
than what we got. It's a little ugly. I kind of like how ugly it is. It looks very like 2002-ish.
I know when I call something ugly that you're going to like it. It's natural. You just love ugly things.
I do. I think my dogs are a testament to that. I have 2 ugly little gremlin dogs, and I love them to pieces.
Gremlin dogs, yeah.
I gotta. My wife does the same thing when she finds ugly stuff. She's like, "Look at this," and I'm like, "I love it. It's amazing." Square Enix and Ponkel.
Yes, the guy who makes Vampire Survivors.
Square Enix and Ponkel. I never realized that was what they went by. Square Enix and Ponkel have teamed up for free Saga DLC for Vampire Survivors. Didn't expect that happening.
Right? Have you played with the cloud saves at all on Vampire Survivors yet?
No, I've not. Have they come to all the platforms yet? Or
everything but PlayStation. PlayStation is blocking it.
I was waiting for them to hit Switch because then I was going to get it on Switch.
I don't know definitively about Switch, but I was able to sync my save between my phone and my Xbox and my PC earlier today.
Awesome.
And it does have you create a Ponkel account to do it. That's how it syncs everything between them is your Ponkel account.
Like that they call it a Ponkel account instead of just a Vampire Survivors account.
Yeah, I like it.
Even in this, they have to be silly.
Yes.
And next to finally, eSWAT, Streets of Rage, and Super Thunderblade all added to Nintendo Switch Online Genesis for as long as they'll be there before Nintendo decides you don't get to play that game anymore. Just a reminder, but cool for people that want to play those games. Thunderblade's great. Streets of Rage is great. I never played eSWAT.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. It sounds like a Narc knockoff.
I don't remember.
Huh. Finally, this is Andrew and I, for fun, after we record Talking Wizards, often just troll around on Kickstarter looking for stupid shit.
Oh, wait. eSWAT is the mech platformer game.
Oh, I guess I don't know that one then.
It's all right. Huh. It's kind of a platformy, not more of a run and gun, like a run and gun platform where you play as a little mech guy.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah,
my point was, I look at a lot of bad Kickstarters.
Yeah, I believe you.
And Bleem has come back as Bleem.net, and they're running a Kickstarter, and it is embarrassing.
Yep.
I get what vibe they were going for with the video, which is like, hey, remember Bleem? All the cool 90s nostalgia you love. Oh, come on, millennials, let's go to Bleem.net, and you can download Pogs. Like, I get the joke.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's really embarrassing, and I hope they feel bad.
I get the joke, but at no point were they like, anyway, here's the actual value you get from using our platform. They didn't get to that part.
No.
They're just like, Pogs and backwards hats, radical dudes, air guitars, and like that was the whole video. If you've not seen the Bleem.net Kickstarter video, please go watch it.
Don't do that.
It is a masterclass in embarrassing, like, hey, millennial 90s kids, look at this radical new in-your-face thing.
And also, it seems to start with the voice of the Slopes Game Room guy. And then it like changes almost like on a dime to some other voice of what sounds like somebody making fun of him.
And it starts ramping up from there because at first you're like, this does sound like Slopes Game Room,
and then he is famous for making his kick scammer videos where he just talks about shady Kickstarters.
Sure, yeah. What's funny is that day I had just watched his Super Sega video.
Oh yeah.
And so when I watched the Bleem video, I was like, is this a fight, or have I just been listening to him too much today that I'm just hearing it?
I feel like maybe they took a clip from another video where he's like making fun of Bleem.net. And they took that as the intro to their video and then just replaced the rest with their weirdo.
It's so they're pitching this website, and they're pitching it as, for people that don't remember these kind of websites, as like a portal website.
Yeah.
And portal websites used to be like, you go to this site and it's got all kinds of things. It's got games and quizzes and chat rooms. And, back in the day, when the internet, like this stuff wasn't everywhere and everything wasn't siloed off, you would kind of choose one of these portals to hang out on. Like, I'm going to go hang out on Yahoo Games and play pool and chat in Yahoo Instant Messenger and hang out. And but we don't have a place for that anymore.
No.
And if we did, it wouldn't be this.
No.
And they legitimately are advertising Pogs. So I don't know what
is going on there.
And they're like, player catalog of classic games. And then they show a bunch of games that are available all over the place.
Yeah. Many of which are like public domain or free to
because
play or whatever.
it's the company is Pico or Piko, Piko.
Yeah. Pico,
and they've already released a bunch of collections on Switch. So if you want those ROMs, you can already go buy them and play them.
It's because Pico Interactive bought Bleem, the name anyway, years ago.
Yeah, I mean I get that, but like, so the games are available elsewhere. What are you showing up for? The Pogs? Like, what is
the vibes, man?
What is it?
You're showing up to stick it to the olds, and by olds we mean like 80-year-olds now.
Yeah, like it's so
embarrassing.
It's bad. It's embarrassing. We need to talk about our topic.
Oh, okay.
Is it embarrassing? Is Capcom.
Yeah.
And Saturn wrote, "I'm going to try to write all these notes without accidentally typing Crapcom one time."
I think I made it, aside from that time.
And apparently this history episode is quite unhinged.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird.
I usually try to, averse myself of the facts of these. Because when we do companies, you usually spearhead it. You already generally have most of the information in your head, and it's something that interests you. So when we do that, you take over. Yeah. And I try to read a little bit, or I'll watch a couple of videos about the company to kind of prepare. You started telling me how weird Capcom was, and I intentionally was like, I'm going to go in blind and just see what the fuck this is.
I expected this to be like most of our company episodes, where it's like, this is when the company was founded, this is some of the stuff they worked on, this is how they collected their talent and grew their catalog and everything. No, this is fucking weird.
I can't wait. Info on Capcom: they were founded May 30th, 1979 in Osaka, Japan, by Kenzo Sugimoto. As far as first encounters, Capcom...
We're going to have some words about Kenzi Sugimoto by the end of this.
I don't know the first time I encountered Capcom. Capcom's just kind of always been there, They were already pretty prolific by the time I was playing games, which would have been the early 90s. I was born in 88.
Yeah, that was already when they were starting to hit their peak, if not definitely hitting their stride.
Growing up, Capcom was right there with Konami as like one of the, they were always third parties, but there were a few third parties where you're like, anything they make with their logo on it, it's probably worth checking out. Most likely. If there was a Konami logo or a Capcom logo on an NES cartridge,
it was going to be worth playing.
Pretty good chance it's worth playing.
Yeah.
If it was a LJN logo, maybe not. Or a Pony Canyon logo, maybe not. Right. But if it was Ultra or Konami or Capcom or Squaresoft or, there were a lot of companies that you're just like, they just make good shit. They're one of the good third parties that you can rely on to, aside from the occasional dud, mostly make good stuff.
Yeah.
And so they kind of remain that way to today, honestly. I mean, they're still pushing out some major franchises.
Yeah, Capcom had some lulls where they were putting out some mediocre stuff, but since they hit their NES stride, I feel like it's been a pretty consistent quality. I remember the earliest games of theirs that I probably played would have been the NES ports of 1942 and Ghosts and Goblins.
Mm-hmm.
And both those are a little rough.
But
they're still, comparatively solid games. They're functional compared to a lot of the games on the NES.
Yeah.
And then Mega Man and Street Fighter were almost, the most important games I had on my NES and Super NES for many years. So I was definitely a Capcom fan for most of the 90s and since.
We weirdly didn't have much Capcom on NES growing up. I got it later. But Mega Man X and Magical Quest on Super Nintendo were two really big titles in my house. I can't think of, because a lot of my NES playing came from when I started collecting when I was 15. I don't remember having any. We had Konami games. We had the Castlevanias. We had Tecmo games.
None of the
Ninja
Capcom
games.
Disney stuff?
We didn't. I think I had Mickey Mousecapades. Was that them?
Oh, no. It was made by Hudson. It was published by Capcom, but it wasn't made by them.
I don't know that I had an NES Capcom game when I was. I mean, we had maybe 25, 30 cartridges. I'm trying to think. I really don't know that we did.
I ended up with Mega Man games, obviously, and then also Little Nemo and Ghosts and Goblins. A handful of Capcom games on NES.
Yeah. Well, Take us on this Wonka-esque journey into the world of Capcom.
Let's start with not that.
Oh, okay. Sure. Right. I do see that in our notes for the Capcom episode, there's a whole section that says not Capcom. I don't know that you know how scope works.
Yeah.
But
I don't think they do either. So
let's do it.
We're gonna be talking a bit about Kenji Sugimoto, who was the founder of Capcom. He was also the son of a blacksmith, and we're gonna start his career in 1970. He's finished college, and he has taken over his uncle's company that at this point, despite previously being some other kind of company, has morphed into a cotton candy machine company. I don't remember what it said it was originally. I found a couple of different long form interviews with him, and they have some conflicting information, as will happen about information from 50 years ago. But none of this is going to add up by the end. So Kenzo is a cotton candy machine salesman, and he was touring Japan, and his claim is that he would set up his cotton candy machines at these shops, and the kids would all crowd around, not because they want cotton candy, but because they were so enamored by how a machine works. I would to tell him that kids are not going to like anything in the world more than they like sugar, sir.
Yeah.
That's not how reality works.
I don't know how many kids are standing there like, oh, yeah, no, I don't want any cotton candy, but can you tell me about this mechanism?
Right.
This is...
So anyway, so he's touring Japan selling cotton candy machines that kids are lining up to watch. And somehow he gets tasked with fixing some pachinko machines. And after he did, he saw how quickly they sold and how much profit margin there was. He was like, this is way better than cotton candy machines. And so he decided he wanted to enter the game entertainment industry.
Gambling is better than selling sugar on a stick? What?
Who would have thought?
Blown away.
Same level of addiction, different audience.
Right.
Turns out the gambling audience has more disposable income than the sugar on a stick audience.
Who knew?
So in 1974, he founds his first company after having run a company that was founded by somebody else. And his first company is called International Playing Machine. And the company's initial goal was to build and install video game machines at stores in Japan. And this is very early in video games. This is Pong era.
I was going to say, this is super early.
Oh, yeah. And he keeps, he's basically just rehabbing, refurbing Pong-like machines, putting his logo on them, sending them to stores.
Right. I mean, the entire video game industry for a little bit there was just like Pong and tennis and table tennis and badminton, which is all Pong.
And air hockey, the video game. Yeah. So yeah, it's he's doing that. And then in 1978, IPM, his company, signed a deal with Taito to make a Space Invaders. Let me try that again. Space Invaders clone.
You got there.
Yay! Called IPM Invaders, which he later renamed Capsule Invaders, and it's still just Space Invaders, but it's under license.
What did IPM stand for?
International Playing Machine.
Invaders.
It's the name of his company. Yeah.
I see.
And around this time, IPM officially changed its name to IREM Corporation in order to avoid confusion with IBM.
I just assumed when he made the game IPM Invaders, he changed the acronym to mean something related to the invaders.
No, none of that.
Okay.
That's just the name of his company. And when he changed the name of the company from IPM to IREM, he changed the game from IPM Invaders to Capsule Invaders.
All right. Okay.
So now he owns IREM, which tangent a lot of retro game fans will probably recognize from games like R-Type.
Sure.
By IREM. Same guy, same company. So he has founded IREM. He runs IREM. He is the CEO of IREM. He makes another company.
Like you do.
And his new company is called IRM Corporation.
All right.
Distinct from IREM.
Which stands for...
IRM Corporation.
God damn it.
And IRM is also focused on manufacturing and distributing electronic games. So literally the exact same purpose as IREM.
Did he forget that he already had a company, maybe? And that's what.
No, he's running them both at once.
Went out drinking for a weekend. It was like, I'm going to start a game company. We're going to make it distribute electronic games. And then he went in Monday and did it. And then he sobered up and he was like, oh, fuck.
it feels like it's tax evasion or something. Like there's got to be something shady going on here. But I have no idea. So he makes a second company. The Space Invaders craze ends in Japan.
Yeah.
And IREM, the first company, was stuck with a large backstock of the product and starts losing money. And so the board of IREM pushes Tsujimoto out of his position as chairman, and you know, he's just forced to work as I think a president or a leader or something within IREM. But he's still the chairman and CEO of IRM. So, you know, who cares?
He did legally distinct company.
Right. He did eventually leave IREM in 83 and focused all of his time on IRM. So he's at IRM while IREM is losing money on his bad decision to make a bunch of Space Invaders clones. And then he founds a subsidiary of IRM, another company, this time called Japan Capsule Computers, which is shortened to Japan Capcom.
What is a capsule computer?
Capsule computer.
Is this the type of computer I'm unaware of? Is this like bubble memory? Like, what is this?
No, they just made video games. This is another company that just makes electronic games, sir.
Well, he's already gotten pushed out of one, so he figured he's going to found several.
Yes.
So he doesn't get pushed out of all of them.
Yeah, but this one's a subsidiary of the second one.
Well, shit.
That does the same thing. So in 81, IRM and its subsidiary Japan Capsule Computers merge into a new company. And they called it Sanbi. Or maybe Sambi. It depends on the translation I found.
But why?
I don't know. And then in 83, Sambi made another subsidiary of their company to manage their sales, and the sales division was called Capcom.
So Capcom was founded as a subsidiary, as a sales department of a renamed, consolidated subsidiary of IRM and Japan Capsule Computers.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Did I get?
So this is the sane part of the story.
Look, we need a lawyer to just explain this shit to us. What is happening?
Oh, don't worry. This is still the easy part to understand. We haven't gotten to the weird shit. So now we get to talk about Capcom, and this is where things become kind of normal. This is just video gamey stuff.
Sure.
We know how this stuff works. So Capcom, their first arcade product was a series of metal games, starting with one called Little League. This is the games where you win the little token metal things.
Yeah, metal with a D.
Yeah, they opened their first Capcom-owned arcade called Acti 24, which is a weird name for an arcade, in late 83. Yep.
Sure, people outside of Japan, well, it sometimes happened in America too, but it was very much companies would open their own themed arcades in Japan. It'd be like, this is the Konami arcade, this is the Sega arcade, this, you know. Yeah,
Sega and Namco did it over here, but it was they were not the biggest names in arcades over here.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Their first arcade game, their first arcade video game, rather, was Vulgus in mid-84.
Vulgus sounds like something you need to go to a special doctor for.
You get a cream for it.
Yeah, Vulgus sounds like the kind of thing where you go into your doctor's like, that might be Vulgus. I'm going to have to send you in. I don't want to, make any assumptions
send you
about
to a specialist, get you a scan.
Send you to a specialist and get you, they'll do the Vulgus scan.
We'll get you some anti-Vulgus cream.
Right, some Vulgicide.
Oh, God. Oh, no. Gross. Anyway, so other early arcade hits are 1942 Commando, Ghosts and Goblins.
Sure, classics.
Yeah. And after seeing success in licensing those games to European publishers for release on computer systems, Capcom thought it would be a good idea to pursue home console ports of their own instead of going through a middleman. So they started making Famicom games in 85.
They're correct. It was a good idea.
Yeah. And despite several successes in both arcades and on the Famicom, the company was struggling by the end of the 80s and was actually nearing bankruptcy.
Oh, wow.
Shocking from a subsidiary of a merged subsidiary of the second company. Right, 3
subsidiaries down, but they're making Stone Cold classics.
Yeah, but they're not making money yet. Because the development cost was still pretty high. There was a lot of initial investment in hardware and everything.
Right, so they'll just found a subsidiary called Capcom 2.
Yeah. So as a kind of a last-ditch effort, they release a strip mahjong game in arcades called Mahjong Gakuen. It was released in 1988. The release would prove to be Capcom's biggest success to date, outselling Ghouls and Ghosts and landing at the 8th highest grossing arcade game in Japan in 1989. I did not realize there was strip mahjong in the history of Capcom, but
sometimes I underestimate the horniness of Japan.
Yeah.
And at every turn, they prove me incorrect.
Yeah.
Strip mahjong, for people that don't know, it is very much a genre. There's a ton of strip mahjong. There's a ton of strip arcade games.
I want to know when we are going to get the RE Engine remake of Mahjong Gakuen.
Yeah, Unreal Engine 5 Mahjong Gakuen, the most realistic strip mahjong you've ever encountered.
Wow. Yeah, that's what I'm at. Capcom, get on it.
You know what? Nothing wrong with some strip mahjong. I played plenty of strip mahjong in my time. I don't know that I'm gonna play instead of Ghosts and Goblins. But sure, okay,
yeah,
all right. Eighth highest grossing arcade game.
Yeah. So they were saved by Mahjong Gakuen, and then in early '89, Capcom merged into parent company Zombie to form a new company called Capcom, which is what they are today.
What?
They have not changed their name since then. That's just been no more mergers or weird subsidiaries. Well, there's still some weird subsidiaries, but whatever. But no more mergers. At least we're set. So now Capcom starts to find their big successes: Mega Man, Street Fighter, Resident Evil, all within the course of 5 or 6 years.
Sure,
all of them.
We're
massive
in the '90s.
Successes.
They're taking off. Street Fighter takes off. It's huge.
This is basically where everybody remembers Capcom, or at least remembers their first peak anyway, is that era of Mega Man and Street Fighter, and then eventually Resident Evil and everything, just back to back to back hits.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's all the weirdness behind us, right?
No, the weirdness is at the end. We're getting to that.
Oh no.
So then we start to see kind of their tumultuous era, because as the budget started to grow, you start to see some mixed success, and you see this with a lot of Japanese companies in the
I was going to say there were some Japanese gaming industry growing pains for a little while in going into the 3D era.
Exactly, late '90s, early 2000s, you saw a lot of mixed success. Capcom had some hits. Devil May Cry and Monster Hunter both came from this era.
Sure,
but then also you had P&O 3 and Lost Planet.
Lost Planet was so cool. I forget about that franchise all the time. Yeah, it was shut up. It was cool.
There's also
cool
Dark Void.
Oh yeah, remember the DSiWare game for that? That was pretty cool though.
That was good. That was all right.
Pretty cool DSiWare game. What else from this era?
That Bionic Commando reboot.
Yes, that I don't know if people. Oh, you mean the Rearmed or the reboot with the dreadlock guy?
That one.
Yeah, I don't think
Nathan.
that people. I don't think his name was Nathan.
His name was Nathan. He was later playable in Marvel Cap 3.
What was Bionic Commando guy's name normally?
Super Joe.
I'm sorry.
Oh wait, no, Super Joe's who you're rescuing. I don't remember what Bionic Commando guy's name was.
Well, if he's rescuing a guy named Super Joe, he's got to have make it Super Nathan. He's just got to be regular Nathan.
It's just regular old Nathan.
This is stupid. Anyway, what Resident Evil?
Yeah. So Resident Evil did super well during this time. After the release of Resident Evil 4, it was just like back-to-back higher sales with every entry in the series.
I feel like 4, 5, 6, a lot of people are like, yeah, 4 was the good one. Then those two games that sucked. Those two games that sucked sold insanely well.
Oh, yeah. 6 was their highest selling game for years.
Yeah.
And then Kaiji Inafune, the character designer for Mega Man, was promoted to senior corporate officer. In that role, he specifically said to abandon prior design choices and focus on Western-centric designs for their games, specifically games like Bionic Commando and Dark Void.
Yay. I do kind of, when I was kind of collecting 360 stuff, I was like, I kind of want to get like Bomberman Act Zero and the Bionic Commando reboot and Dark Void and just kind of play the sort of like
the Draggles.
Yeah, the shitty, like, hey, remember this? I mean, Dark Void was its own franchise, but it felt very much like they were trying to reboot something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like they were like, hey, we could make a Rocketeer game, and someone else was like, that movie came out like 20 years ago. Nobody fucking cares about that shit. And then they're like, I caught something else. Rocketeer is a big deal for like a minute. I remember. I remember that one.
There was a game based on it.
I don't think it was a good movie in retrospect.
It was not.
But
That was Billy Zane, right?
It might have been. I don't know. It's up there with the Dick Tracy movie for me, where it's like movie I loved as a kid and I'm scared to rewatch as an adult.
Yeah, that's the correct reaction to Rocketeer.
Yeah. Anyway,
so yeah, these more Western styled Capcom games didn't do great with fans or with sales. They did have some success with lower budget games like Bionic Commando Rearmed, which you mentioned. Mega Man 9 was also during this era.
Yeah,
those both did really well. Then Inafune
big return
left.
to form for Mega Man.
Yeah. Then Inafune left in 2010. They decided to refocus their efforts onto the successful stuff like Monster Hunter and Resident Evil and Ace Attorney. Started bringing in some more money again. They have a Capcom history website that you can go to now. It was originally made for the 35th anniversary. They've updated it for the 40th anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a charming website. It's got a lot of little, interactive things you can play with and little cute graphics and characters and shit. One of the things that they pride themselves on, both on that website and in their investor portfolio thing, is that they have the most successful media spin-offs of their games. And they cited the Street Fighter films, the Resident Evil films, the Street Fighter anime, various Mega Man anime and cartoon spin-offs, the Monster Hunter film, various animated and live-action Sengoku Basara adaptations, and the various animated and live-action adaptations of Ace Attorney, and the recent Devil May Cry series, which, true, some of those are successful.
Sure.
I don't know that I'd call them good.
I don't know that they all deserve to be in this bin.
No.
You know,
it feels like a very mixed bin.
It's like, oh yeah, that's my bin of dog shit and T-bone steaks. Like,
yeah, it's like trail mix, but every fifth piece is a turd.
Yeah, it's like trail mix with poop in it. You're like, yeah, I'll take some trail mix, but man, did you have to leave the poop in there? Like,
right.
Necessary for my recipe.
Yeah, I did not realize that they had live-action theatrical performances of Ace Attorney and Sengoku Basara.
It doesn't shock me with Ace Attorney. I feel like it came and went for me. It passed me by. I didn't care about it. But I feel like it was a big deal.
Yeah.
It really was a big deal for a little while there, and kind of had a longer tail than I really ever expected from it.
It's still got a fairly sizable fan base.
Yeah, I was never my bag, but it's man, people fucking love those games.
Something on Capcom's investor timeline that they try to pitch to get people to invest in the company says that Sengoku Basara character Date Masamune was used for PR activities in the support of Miyagi Prefecture gubernatorial elections. I don't know what that means, sir. What are you doing?
I remember the Sengoku Basara games.
Yeah, Devil Kings.
Because I remember like a couple of them came out, and I was like...
They're still super popular in Japan, too. They're still making games in that series.
That's crazy to me. I mean, did not hit over here in the West.
I don't know how recently still is. It might have been
what? Well, they were. I know they had them up through PS3.
Yeah, I want to say there was a PS4 era entry.
I was just looking. Sengoku Basara 4 was PS3 and PS4.
Yeah.
They've had mobile games. They've had browser games. There's been multiple adaptations.
Yeah.
They had
and then they support the gubernatorial elections.
They had a collaborative stage play.
Yeah.
With Sengoku Basara Devil May Cry, entitled Sengoku Basara versus Devil May Cry. And in the play, this is straight from Wikipedia, in the play, Dante, Lady Trish, and Virgil come across some mysterious historical ruins while chasing after a demon and are sent back to Japan's Sengoku period. This is insane.
Yeah.
This is a whole stage production.
Yeah, I don't know. There's some crazy shit. I did grab this screenshot from the Capcom 40th anniversary website just because I really like the captions they put on their pictures. Like the picture of Mega Man X just says, "Don't get run over by Armored Armadillo," and then they put a little attack bubble in the middle of the picture.
Yeah, he's right in the middle of the little sled you ride right before you get the Hadoken, and it just says "attack" right above him shooting his Mega Buster.
I also like vampire clawed by a werewolf and bleeding out !
Sure, for Darkstalkers, Night Warriors.
That's not a full sentence.
No, it isn't. Well, there's a capital letter and punctuation at the end. So shut up.
It's true. So now we have to get to the weird shit.
No, we've not approached that yet.
So at some point in the 1990s, I can't find the exact date, but the guy we've been talking about, Kenzo Sugimoto, the founder of IREM and Capcom, he established another company called Kenzo Estate in Napa, California.
All right.
A winery on 1,500 hectares of land that he purchased from Capcom for 7 billion yen.
Why does Capcom own a winery in Napa Valley?
So they didn't own a winery. What they owned was some land that they're planning on developing warehouses and office land on.
Okay.
But they never got around to making it.
That's my winery now.
They never got around to making it. The industry was kind of changing. They weren't focusing on arcade as much as they used to. They didn't need all this warehouse space. They were looking to sell it, and he was like, I'll buy it. Turning this shit into a winery. And according to Sugimoto, his white wine, called Asatsuyu, was selected in 2011 as one of the best wines by a magazine for the wealthy in the United States. He didn't mention what magazine, but I found a lot of wine enthusiast websites that rate this wine very highly.
I'm on Wine Searcher looking at Kenzo Estate at Satsuyu.
Yeah.
They got $100 bottles on sellers. I kind of want to get some Capcom wine. I don't know what to do with it. People are bidding on it. $50, 317, 109.
Additionally,
they got another one. Let's see. That's their white wine. The red wine here. What is this
one?
If
you go to the Kenzo Estates website, it lists all their different varieties that they have.
They got a Sauvignon and a Merlot. There's this is what?
Yeah. So then, in 2016, Sugimoto founded a restaurant that he called Kenzo Napa on the grounds of his winery for tourists to the winery. And the restaurant has received 4 consecutive Michelin star ratings and the Award of Excellence from Wine Spectators.
First of all, Wine Spectators sounds like a group of people that watches people get day drunk and get in fist fights.
Right? I'm going to go join the Wine Spectators. Martha's got a new
wine
bottle.
Spectating? Yeah, we just look over the fence of the vineyard and watch all the suburbanites get in fist fights with each other.
Oh, look, Karen's got 2 handles of Franzia.
This is insane.
And then Sugimoto's son, Ryozo Sugimoto, who has been a longtime producer of the Monster Hunter franchise, says he's also taken an interest in wineries and may end up starting his own winery. I don't know what's going on anymore. We were talking about Capcom at some point, and now it's all about restaurants and wine, and everything went off the rails.
It's weird. It's weird.
This guy is really fascinating, this Sugimoto character. His other kid also works at Capcom, also as a producer, and wanted to go into the restaurant industry at some point. Maybe he is working at the restaurant. I don't know. I can't find any information on that.
Like at the end of the day, I get that this is just what wealthy people do. They do shit like buy wineries and make restaurants and shit. This is the thing they do.
Sure.
And so when you hear about like, this politician or this celebrity's son or whatever, they got $1 billion. They started a restaurant. They bought a horse kennel. What do you put horses in? I don't know. That's how poor I am. I don't even fucking know. Stable. Thank you. A horse stable.
Yeah, a horse kennel.
And you're like, all right, a horse kennel. You're like, all right, yeah, so rich people do. But like 15 years ago, they were going fucking bankrupt, and now he owns a winery in Napa Valley?
Yeah.
How much money did you sock away from your subsidideries, Kenzo?
Maybe he's still selling the cotton candy machines on the side and making some of this money. Oh,
oh man, how weird!
It's just such a bizarre journey to get.
I think it's bizarre. It's bizarre because it's unrelated. And when you hear the owner of Capcom has a wine company, you imagine it's like, a blue Mega Man wine. This is what you imagine.
No, it's like a prestigious wine brand.
You know what it makes me think of? There was a watch YouTube channel I used to watch, and it was this guy restoring old watches, like Rolexes and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was like super zoomed in, and he just kind of talked calmly and restored these watches. And it was cool to see. It was something to have on in the background. It was just something that, I went down this YouTube hole.
Yeah.
And I was like, God, this guy's voice sounds so familiar to me.
Yeah.
And one day, he was like, he has all this like expensive antique equipment. I mean, tens of thousands of dollars of watchmaking equipment.
Sure.
And insane. And so I'm like, watching him. And one day he has some equipment on a mat. He uses mats for everything. Everything's like clean room, little rubber gloves.
Sure, yeah.
You're crazy because it's expensive watches. And he had some equipment on a mat, and it was a Magic the Gathering mat. And the second I saw the mat, in my head, it all clicked. And I went, this guy, the voice, it's familiar because it's Marshall Sutcliffe, the Magic the Gathering announcer.
Oh.
And podcaster from the Magic the Gathering Pro Tours that I used to watch.
Nice.
Also has a business restoring Rolexes on YouTube. And it was just the weirdest collision of like, what? Like, of course, like people are multifaceted.
Sure. Yeah.
I have stuff in my life that isn't related to video games.
Right.
I was going to say you do too, but you know, you're pretty video game centric. But sometimes you'll read a book. And that's not a video game.
Pretty often, yeah.
And so it's not that weird that people would have things in their life that they do that are not related to the thing you might know them for.
Right.
But for whatever reason, it's just strange sometimes that the guy that founded Capcom owns a restaurant and a winery in Napa Valley.
A successful winery at that.
Well known.
A prestigious, successful winery.
And there's no Mega Man anywhere on the bottles.
No. If you go to his website for his winery, he does mention that he was the founder of Capcom.
How strange.
Yeah.
How very strange. Oh, here's their website.
Yeah.
Oh,
I sent you a link to it the other day.
Oh, did you? I must have missed it.
Yeah. I think I sent it to you in Signal when we were...
Translated as Morning Dew, Atsatsu is the first Sauvignon Blanc made by Heidi Barrett. I don't know who that is. Maybe she invented some robot masters. And the only white wine from Kenzo Estate. Crisp, rich, and complex. This wine exudes the true Sauvignon Blanc character. Notes of citrus and peach segue to ripe flavors of honeydew, melon, and guava. They always just taste like wine to me. Maybe this is the one that'll change my mind. Thirst-quenching acidity, framed by subtle minerality and soft undertones of sweet oak. I would love to know if anyone out there that drinks wine has had this guy's wine.
Right?
Like, surely in all of our audience, someone has drank some Kenzo wine.
Capcom wine.
If you have, I want to know about it.
Yeah, if you go to their website and you go to the history thing, it talks about how he first achieved success as the founder of Capcom, clearly ignoring IREM. Fuck IREM.
Yeah.
Or the cotton candy. And then it goes on to talk about how he became enchanted with the Napa Valley and made his winery.
As far as, I mean, we should go through some notable franchises for people that for some reason don't know Capcom.
Video games. Yeah.
We talked about the 19XX games, Ghosts and Goblins, Bionic Commando. Strider was a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Mega Man was huge. We just kind of glossed over that chunk of the 90s where they were just kind of squeezing out Mega Man and Street Fighter stuff.
Dozens of Mega Man games a year.
Which was great at the time, but also not very interesting historically. It's just like, yes, they continue to be mid-level successful reliably year over year. Like, there's not a lot of...
at the time, I remember a lot of people saying like, "Well, they need to slow down on these Mega Man and Street Fighter games." And now, 30 years later, everybody's like, "Man, I miss when there was constantly Mega Man and Street Fighter games."
Street Fighter was huge. It was a huge deal. Reinvigorated the arcade scene here in the States, and I presume in other countries for a little while there. Final Fight, I think, doesn't get the credit it deserves for being a big arcade mega smash hit.
Yep.
A very big deal. Breath of Fire, when we talked about it last episode, I feel like people fucking forget that there's 4 Breath of Fire games and then a 5th game named Breath of Fire. There's a lot of those. Darkstalkers, Resident Evil, Dino Crisis, Onimusha, Devil May Cry, Ace Attorney, Steel Battalion. I was on the XBMC for Gamers, homebrew shop.
Yeah.
And they had some like special homebrew DLC level add-ons for Steel Battalion that may interest you.
That's
maybe one day I'll bring my modded Xbox over and we can check out weird homebrew Steel Battalion shit.
Right.
Beautiful Joe and Okami. This was 6th generation stuff. This was kind of their new franchises. This is before. It makes me wonder why they went the direction they did, because they had Beautiful Joe and Okami in the PS2, GameCube, Xbox era. And then the next generation, they're like, nah, well, let's go try to do weird old Western style reboots of shit.
Yeah.
And so it makes me think that
Inafune's influence pretty heavily.
It makes me think that maybe Beautiful Joe and Okami didn't turn into the franchises they wanted them to.
Well, they didn't sell as well as they wanted them to.
True.
And part of it was that they were, Beautiful Joe anyway, it was GameCube exclusive for a while, and that didn't help.
Yeah. Dead Rising was a pretty big deal. They made, 4 of them, I think?
Yeah, they've made 4 and a spinoff so far.
Dragon's Dogma just had its second game. That's kind of one of their newer franchises. Monster Hunter's huge and probably bigger than ever now, honestly.
Yeah.
I think it's just kind of at its peak. It didn't really hit very hard in the States, I feel, until...
World, really.
World was where it really took off. I think it started to get noticed around, like, Try... and the 3DS games and stuff. It was kind of like this weird, that weird other Capcom franchise. And then World was like, hey, now we've broken into mainstream success. Street Fighter just keeps on fucking trucking.
Oh, yeah. And so does Resident Evil.
Resident Evil, yeah. Yeah. Presumably they're coming out with some new Resident Evil someday.
Yeah. The rumor is there's either a remake of 5 or Code Veronica or 0 in the works, and also Resident Evil 9 in the works. So we'll probably be hearing about one of those by the end of the summer, I would imagine.
As far as final thoughts, wine aside, it's nice to get to do one of these episodes where it feels like a company is maybe not yet even in its golden age.
Yeah.
Now granted, I think someone could make the argument that, I like this era of Capcom better than these other eras of Capcom, but Capcom's still doing really fucking good.
Yeah.
And even
they were hurting for a while there. There were a couple times where they were hurting.
Yes. Yeah, definitely financially, but just quality of output wise.
Yeah.
I think there's been a few year ranges there where you might call it a bit of a speed bump.
Yeah.
But it never seemed to deter them from getting back to just making good games.
Yeah.
And we're in a state with them right now where they're just kind of making good games. In recent years, we've gotten some Monster Hunters, we've gotten some new Resident Evils, we've got some Resident Evil remakes, we've gotten the new Dragon's Dogma. I know we got Dead Rising collection. We've gotten other shit that I was gonna say that I forgot, but like
I remember there was a rumor.
New Onimusha.
Yeah, there was a rumor shortly before the PS4 came out that was that supposedly Capcom was in talks of being purchased by Take-Two. Because of how bad they were doing at the time. Yeah. And I'm glad they made it through that and did not get acquired by Take-Two, because they're doing pretty good right now.
Capcom's also famously extremely lenient and kind and often helpful to fan projects.
Yes.
When they're like, what was that one? Street Fighter Cross
versus
Mega Man or whatever came out, and they like published the fucking thing.
Yep. That was great.
They're like, some fans made this game. It was really cool. Let's publish it. Let's publicize this. And they've always just kind of had this really cool attitude. Now, I don't agree with all their monetization and their business practices and all that shit, but you're never going to. Right. But they put out good stuff. They seem to really care about just putting out good games still. And it's nice to have one of these where we're not like, anyway, then they went to shit and they got bought by Acclaim, who got bought by this company, who got bought by this company.
We said that about Blizzard.
This is true.
Like a month later, they took a giant shit.
All right. Well, then I think we need to shit on it a little bit so that out in the universe. All right, here we go. The Ghosts and Goblins franchise was never as good as people remember it being.
How dare you?
Except the PSP game. That game was outstanding.
And the recent
outstanding. Yeah, not as good as the PSP game. It was good. It was good.
I just think they need to get back to their roots and make another strip mahjong.
I'm a little upset. You know what is weird? Give us a Beautiful Joe compilation.
Right.
I mean, fuck. There was like 3 or 4 of those games.
Yeah.
Put them all on a Switch cart and sell them to me, Capcom. I'll buy
Switch
it.
2 cart.
I will. Switch 2. No, Switch 1. Don't put on Switch 2. I don't have a Switch 2.
Yeah, too bad.
Hell, I was playing, they've also been so good at reinventing their franchises over the years. I was playing Mega Man Battle Network, which I've never played. I picked the collection up when it came out on Switch and just been sitting on my shelf, and I was like, man, I need to try that.
Got a neat
so much fun.
System. Yeah.
Really fun and just totally different. The way they've reinvented so many franchises, so many times, and mostly successful. Some of them are DMC, but other ones are Mega Man.
Yeah.
And it works great. We didn't even talk about Mega Man Legends era. Your least favorite Mega Mans. Yeah, I know you don't like them. What about Tron Bonne? You like Tron Bonne? That's a good game.
I like the character. I don't like the game.
Oh, no, Saturn. What about Mega Man Legends 2?
Yeah, I don't care for any of those.
Oh, see, now you're hurting my feelings.
That's not your fault that you have bad
personally
tapes.
invested. I actually don't. I want to love them more than I do love them, I think is what it is. Anyway. Final thoughts on Capcom. They make good games.
They do.
Please quit fucking up Street Fighter monetization. I know you're making more money than ever on it, but I don't personally like it. So do what I say, because I'm one guy in Texas and you own Wine and Ace Attorney.
At the very least, now that Street Fighter 6 is out and is starting to make its money from gross monetization, give us a final release of Street Fighter 5 that just has everything.
Right?
Like, at least let us have the old one.
Give me that. Come on. Give me that.
Right?
Well, in the meantime, we'll all have to settle for going to our Patreon at patreon.com/retrowarriors, where you can get cool versions of this show. They're so much cooler and radicaler, more radical than this show.
Yeah.
Cowabunga. So that's my pitch for you to go to our URL and give us
totally convincing.
Give us money. The other day I checked downloads on the show. We don't do our monthly meetings anymore, so I don't bother to check downloads because, like, I don't know. I feel weird doing the Patreon sometimes because I listen to a lot of shows, and there's some shows I support on Patreon, and they're like, if without your money, we wouldn't be able to keep doing this. And I'm like, yeah, we'd still do it, even if it costs us money. Like, we would honestly, we'd still do it.
Yeah, I mean,
the money's nice.
We're doing this out of pocket for a long time.
Yeah, it wouldn't maybe be as good or have as good of equipment, but like, you'd still hear us shouting into a tin can about Mega Man.
Into a Rock Band mic.
Which isn't to say we don't greatly appreciate our patrons.
Indeed.
But I forgot my original point. I've lost the thread. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/retrowarriors. You can get uncut versions of this show. You can get the show early. You can get Talking Wizards, which is getting increasingly weird.
Yeah.
In somehow... It's one of those things where you're like, it couldn't get more weird than it is now. And then it does. It does. So I don't even know how to sell it. You just got to listen to it. You got to experience it to know what's going on. And you get that for any amount of money. I don't really know how it works. Technically, our minimum is $1 a month, which means you're paying 25 cents per main episode, and you get Talking Wizards for free on top of that.
Yeah.
But I think any amount of money you get Talking Wizards. So someone try subbing it a penny and tell me if you get Talking Wizards. I don't know how it works, but I'm curious to find out.
Right.
Anyway, we want to thank the following patrons, starting with Adam Williams.
And Conchu.
Ice Climber Enthusiast.
Sharp Cheddar.
Ishitrue.
Abe Lincoln, the president?
So nice of him to come back from the dead and support us on Patreon.
That is nice of him.
I have so many questions for him.
Right?
Charles G.
A discontinued cigarette.
PJ Pizza as Barfly.
Nice. And Eric the Human.
Which is the sequel to Eric the Viking.
Yeah.
Which was a very bad 80s B movie.
He was not a human.
No, he was a non-human Viking. Human trumps Viking, so if you're a Viking, then you don't count as a regular.
No, you don't.
It's above it, right?
Right.
Anyway, thank you so much for listening. We'll be back next week, and as always, let us cling together.